Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me. How y'all doing? I wasn't really going to make this video this morning rant, but I feel particularly inspired. I'm talking about individuation. Individuation, which is something that has served me in my life exceptionally well. And individuation for my kids, which is really the most important thing for me. Every child, right? Every child reaches the terrible twos where they first come to the realization that they're no longer a little baby, and that every time they cry, mommy is not going to necessarily come and feed them or entertain them. They also have to understand that, they also come to the understanding that, although they're not the commander of their mom and dad, as they once believed they were, that they are also free. So with that lack of support also comes a very liberating sense of autonomy. And so the kid starts to go through the terrible twos. That is the establishment of individuation. He starts to become an individual. And then later on, at around 7 or 8 years old, the critical mind is developed, right? We're all born in a state of theta, or with our brains operating in a state of theta. And so that means that everything that comes into our experience, our realm of experience before 7 or 8 years old, is the programming that we use to repeat these patterns in our lives throughout our lives. So at about 7 or 8, when the kid figures out that there's no Santa Claus and there's no Easter Bunny and whatnot, then, that's because their critical faculty has developed. Then they reach another stage of individuation. That's a very important stage. Then comes childhood. Now, childhood is very important because children are like a piece of clay, right? So children are molded during their childhood years. And that's where it really becomes challenging for me, because I have to deal with battling against narcissistic parenting. And I think narcissistic parenting is a part of all cultures and societies in the world. Maybe a little bit more prevalent in some cultures than others, such as the Creole society. But it does exist. And narcissistic parents tend to enmesh their children. It's not love. It may be mistaken for love, but it's not love. It's enmeshment. So the child is not allowed to have his own thoughts or feelings, and the parent tries to aggressively control the development of that child's personality, the development of that child's character or lack thereof. And usually, the narcissistic parent doesn't want what's best for the child when they are enmeshed. No, they want the child to be a servant to them, right? They want the child to be an extension of them. And it's total narcissism. It has nothing to do with love at all. It's very, very, very unfortunate. And, the thing is, right, I make pretty children, right? I produce beautiful children. And so my children tend to be coveted, okay? Sometimes even by their own parents and grandparents. They tend to be coveted instead of loved, right? Yes, my children are objects of beauty. This is true. They are quite beautiful because I'm beautiful and they have my DNA. But more than that, they are individuals, and they were put here by God to be individuals. They were put on earth by God to enjoy life as individuals and to contribute to the world as individuals. And my struggle, 3 different struggles with 3 different children with 3 different mothers, my struggles have to do with basically fighting to teach my children to individuate, fighting to empower and enable my children to individuate, as opposed to being enmeshed and to being slaves, basically, because a child who's not allowed to individuate is the slave of the enmeshing parent, the narcissistic parent, or the slave of the narcissistic grandparent, in the case of my daughter. And, this is important. It's a very important struggle because it really all comes down to enmeshment versus individuation. Whether or not you have a life, you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to even like me. You don't have to follow in my way, as long as the way you are following is your way, right? Not your grandmother's way as her slave, not the Mormon slave way, not your mother's way as her slave, not to be manipulated by guilt or shame, to sacrifice your precious life on earth, the days, the energy, the months, the weeks, the years, and the time of your precious life on earth in servitude to another human being. I cannot begin to express how insulting that is for another human being to feel as though they are entitled to the liberty of me and especially of my children. You see? Now, a very interesting thing took place. I was talking to a very well-respected doctor, a friend of mine who's a psychologist, actually. He's going to be working with me. We're going to be working very closely with my NPI provider account and providing services to veterans with PTSD. We are working on helping people, and I've been doing a lot of videos showing you guys how to take care of your health, which I'm going to do again this morning. All right, I'm gonna go live from the gym. I'm going to work out, show you guys my back and biceps routine today. Oh, we've got quite a line of cars going down the street. Oopsie. And he gave me some really good insight. He's like, Devin, you know what? Bare your soul, man. Bare your soul. Get into the blood sport. Get into the internet blood sport. So that's what I'm doing. I'm starting to tell you guys a little bit about what's going on with my kids, because I think that's important. It's important to share a little bit of your personal self with your crowd. And I think just like many of you may identify with the things that I'm doing for my physical health, you may also identify with what's taking place in my emotional life, my social life. It has to all come together, right? Because you have to want to put forth the effort to transform your life. You have to want to put in the effort that it takes to actually make a difference. You got to want to put in those workouts in the gym. You have to feel as though you are worth it, right? I often say the most significant doors you're going to pass through as a human being, you are going to pass through alone. I can't stress that enough. I went into the United States Air Force with a pair of jeans on, a hospital scrub shirt, and a pair of Chucks, a pair of Converse All-Star tennis. No socks, no underwear, and a sharkskin belt. I didn't have any luggage. I didn't pack anything. I didn't take anything. I just got on the plane. And that was the first time I'd ever flown on the plane, when I was going to basic training, believe it or not. That was my first flight on an aircraft when I was going into the United States Air Force. Trippy, huh? Before leaving the Air Force, I would learn how to fly. So it is what it is. But when you go through these portals, when you go through these doors, when you go through these challenges alone, it's the most transformative thing in the world. You get to define yourself. You get to redefine who you are, right? And there's nothing better than that. It's nothing better than being in a controlled environment within which you are so far out of the reach of your family of origin that you cannot possibly be manipulated by them, and that you can actually accomplish, establishing your life for yourself. There's really nothing more powerful than that. But when you define yourself, when you establish your own values, when you cultivate the virtues that you need to cultivate, that you would like to cultivate in yourself. Remember, I always say, like Ayn Rand said, man is a being of self-made health, self-made wealth, and self-made soul, right? When you are cultivating yourself, your virtues and your values and your lifestyle and your schedule, there's always that nagging little voice in the back of your mind. And it's really the voice of the narcissist that previously was your controller. There's always that nagging little voice that, since you're dedicating so much time toward yourself, since you're dedicating so much effort toward the development of who you are as a person, right? Toward the development of your own self-efficacy and your own self-worth, which are the two components of your self-esteem, that there's something better that you should be doing. And that something better is invariably satisfying the desires of the narcissist. That's where that something better comes from. I don't want this car to get hot when I'm parked all day. That's that voice. That's what that nagging voice in the back of your mind is saying. You shouldn't be working out. You shouldn't be studying. You shouldn't be getting your education. You shouldn't be building your business. You shouldn't be doing positive and constructive things to develop your life, to build your life, and to enhance your health, and to enhance, because there are better things that you should be doing. There are higher priority things that you should be doing. And usually those better things, those higher priority things are not. They're simply not better, and they're simply not higher priority. They're simply what would make you shine in the eyes of the narcissist, or in the eyes of someone with that narcissist value system. Okay? So it's always more noble to be, picking up your mom from a gossip session at a stitching bitch when she could really drive herself, or cutting your mom's grass, in the lawn when she could easily give $20 to the neighborhood kids to do it for her, than it is to dedicate that same amount of time toward the simple indulgence of taking care of your health in the gym. It is your responsibility to take care of your health. It is your responsibility to provide yourself with good physical health throughout all the days of your life, throughout all of the periods of your life. So, I was hoping that this rant would end with me getting to my office, but I'm already at my office. I'm already at the Biometrics Health Center, enjoying the success of my enterprise. So I'm just going to go in and start my day, because I want you to understand exactly what it is that's going on. Like I said, I was luckily so well individuated after having gone into the United States Air Force at 17, signing up at 17 and entering at 18, traveling and living overseas and everything, that I kept very, very, very good adherence to my schedule. 1 second, please. Hopefully I can come back.